your advertising question. Hello, hello. No, I think you're on mute. You'll have to unmute. If you want to ask a question, you're going to have to unmute. There we go.
Hey,
Awesome.
actually, I mistakenly pressed the raise button. I was just listening, okay? And thank you for pulling me up. For right now, I don't have any questions.
Oh, no questions.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Awesome. So you got everything figured out with Amazon ads. Kudos to you.
Yeah, I just want to hear you.
Awesome.
So,
Cool. Yeah, if you don't have a question though, I'm gonna switch you out with somebody else. So I appreciate that. It looks like we have 2 other hand raises. So for those of you who just joined, feel free to hit the hand raise button. I will bring you up, which will allow you to unmute yourself, and then you can ask your ad question. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. Fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. How can I help?
Okay. A couple of first. I think it's my first audio event, so pardon me. I'm not aware of how the format goes.
No, you're good.
And
You're good.
okay. And so I'm working with a lot of D2C brands in India and Middle East,
Mhm.
and a lot of them are sort of seeing that it's very challenging going for the last couple of years on the other like Google and Facebook, and
Mhm.
Amazon seems to be the bet that they're trying to invest in a lot.
Mhm.
But after a brand scales and some of the common brands, and there are a dozen brands that I've spoken to across both markets, and at
Mhm.
least the trend that I see is till they are hitting almost close to like $2 million annual run rate, in which they're getting about 30-40% from Amazon. It's
Mhm.
great, but beyond that they're struggling, and they're
Mhm.
hitting like a saturation point. And most of these guys that I'm talking to are just running it by themselves
Mhm.
and not really using any third party tool to do things better. So would love to understand from you on one thing, that hey, are in other developed parts of the world, are people still using direct Amazon on how they used to do? Because I think 20 or maybe 15 years back on Google and Facebook or whatever, at least in Google, and then 12 years back on Facebook, people started using other third party tools for better optimization, better keywords
Mhm. Mhm.
management, and a lot of that. Has that come to Amazon? Do you see that coming in?
Yeah, so
I'll mute myself. Thanks.
yeah. No, it's a really good question. So let me just summarize, and then I'll see if I hit your question on that, if I got it right, and then I'll make sure I can answer the right question. So from my understanding, you're trying to figure out they're doing everything manually, and you're trying to help advise them if they're leaving something on the table, because they're doing it manually. Is that correct?
Yes,
Got
that's my
it.
question.
Got it. Yeah, and it's a really good question. So I would say yes, you possibly might be leaving something on the table. Amazon ads are not so sophisticated that I would say undoubtedly you're leaving things on the table. The main thing that you're going to get through managing through a tool is efficiency more than potentially the results. What we've found is that a lot of tools, they are insanely good for efficiency. So if you're talking about very large catalogs, you sometimes things just slip through the cracks, or it's really difficult to kind of get a handle on what's going on manually. The other thing that tools are great for, and I would say they're far superior to a lot of manual options, would be for data analytics. So this goes beyond the ads, but surfacing things like products that have been flagged, making sure you're gauging your stock levels, because as we know, if you like just really scale something but then the product goes out of stock, you definitely lose that momentum. So that can be difficult. It's pretty difficult manually to really accurately predict and figure out stock positions. You definitely can, but I would say it's more difficult. I would say it also depends on the size of the catalog. It is very possible to do things manually. So I would say you're not really missing out from is a tool going to get you better results than you would manually? It's more from an efficiency standpoint. And if the brand is so large that they just lack the time to really optimize the entire catalog.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I go for a follow-up question on the same?
Yeah, if it's a short one.
So this, in future, or at least in the near future, do you see Amazon coming up with a third-party ecosystem to let tool and technologists to come build tools on top of Amazon?
Mm. So there are certain things they have built into their platform. And they do have actually, if you're part of the Amazon Advertising Partner Network, which we are, there is a partner portal which they do actually have some tools that they have built into that platform. I will be perfectly frank with you; those tools are very clunky, inefficient, and difficult to use, and very difficult to navigate to. So, and the how much they're putting into building those out is really minimal. Um, they're definitely upgrading their platform though. The Amazon advertising portal, they're definitely ramping up the tools and solutions inside of just their general portal to be able to do that. I see them continuously doing that, trying to make it more efficient and easier for brands who are still kind of like you're saying stuck in manual mode to be able to manage things out on a larger scale with more efficiency. So I think that will slowly roll out. However, they're definitely going to be far behind third-party tools for a long time.
Got it. Got it. Thank you so much. I appreciate the honesty,
Yeah,
Anjali. Thank you
yeah,
so
of
much.
course. Of course. It was a great question. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to bring up someone else. We got 4 other hand raises. So, by the way this platform works is you can raise a hand using the bottom of the screen. I will bring you up. You may ask your question, and then we'll get to the
Perfect.
next one. Hello, hello. How are you?
Hey, perfect. I'm good. Thank you for the opportunity. Am I audible?
You are. You are. I can hear you just fine.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I'm the team manager of ads at Buybox Experts, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean it's a big opportunity talking to all of you. So I just wanted to pick your guys' brain on Amazon, like the Prime Day being around the corner. So what I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to ask was that what are some of your like tested and proven best strategies for like pre-Prime Day, the day of the Prime Day, and post-Prime Day? Because I've been working and I'm still working with a lot of like multi-million dollar brands and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on the newsletters and all that. So we do have a lot of stuff that we have accumulated over the years with the experience and all that. But it's always a great thing to learn from industry experts. So yeah, any advice on that? Any tips on that? What is your procedure or like best practices for Prime Day? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a really good question. One thing that we do is we ask our brands, all of them, are they planning on running deals? What we found that if they're not, like we have several brands, maybe their stock position isn't very strong or they have no interest. What we found is that if the brand is not running any deals, that the conversion rate increases that you typically see on Prime Day, we don't see those same conversion rate lifts. So because the ads, of course, get more expensive, but then you would expect, the conversion rates to kind of offset things getting more competitive. You kind of see a general overall like better KPIs during Prime Day. We found that that's not the case if they're not running any deals whatsoever. So that's one question we just kind of get an eye on, and then that will help us kind of figure out strategy. We do expect to see lower conversion rates the days leading up into Prime Day. Now, of course, Amazon will tell you increase everything. There's going to be way more traffic. That is true. You will see a heavy influx of traffic, but you will see a sharp decrease in the conversion rates a couple days prior. So for that, what we'll do, we'll monitor it closely. One of our favorite things to do to kind of stem any ad waste, but then also make sure we haven't adjusted our bids in a way that doesn't allow us to be competitive day of, is depending on what we're seeing in the performance, we probably may scale back on the budgets. And then unless we have main keywords that our brand has directed, like we have to be absolutely top of search for these keywords, or if there's something that like we might earmark certain keywords and increase the bids the day of. and the only way you would do that, because again, you're really flying blind, would be to go in, see where your ads are showing, and then adjust those bids again day of. But for the most part, unless we have like those really specific searches, we will simply make sure we keep on top of budgets the day of. That will be our major
Perfect.
adjustments. The other thing I
Awesome.
love to do is you can preload bulk files, or some other software allows you to do that. But we'll go through a little bit prior. What we'll do is we'll figure out, our top keywords, our top targets, the ones that we have a lot of historical data on, and then we'll kind of make those bid adjustments with the bulk file, and then we'll also make sure that we have kind of what we call like our reset file for the bids, so we can like revert them back to where they were. And then you have those two files, and
Perfect.
it makes it much easier to adjust and reset.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, we pretty much have been following all those best practices. But
Yeah.
just a quick follow up question to that: have you used like hourly stream data streaming for optimization on Prime Day, like the things that hourly streaming offered by PackView and Perpetua,
Mm.
the hourly stream? Did you guys use it, or are you planning on using it, or how good is that?
So we are not, and I would have to go back and read the literature, but I talked to somebody who was part of the, it's not, you are getting hourly data, but what you're getting is like an average performance. It's not like you can go and get like last hour's data. That's from my understanding. Now, please go read the literature and like correct me if I'm wrong, because I could be
Okay, no,
remembering it.
that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm yeah, perfect. So yeah, that would be it. I won't take much time, but thank you so much for the answers. They were amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate the question. It was really good. Cool. All right. I'm going to pull up the next person. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to use the hand raise option. And those of you watching, if we have dead space, I'm going live on a couple different channels. If we have any dead space, I will get to some of your text questions, but I'm prioritizing people in the live LinkedIn chat. So there should be, I'll post a comment again where you can join us if you're interested. But anyways, go ahead. Ali, if you have a question, feel free to unmute.
Hey Lisa, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. So basically, I'm new in your broadcast, but I am the co-founder of DRG Empire. So our company have multi accounts for Amazon, but we outsourcing all the stuff like PPC work.
Hmm.
So now our team is under the training for PPC. So I am interested if you share me any tool or any strategy for PPC work. So it would be helpful, or if you guide me something like any tool or any strategy for PPC that will make helpful to grow.
Mm. So kind of like a strategy basics.
Yeah, you can share any strategy in basic, or maybe any tool that will help to grow our PPC account or grow sales.
Goodness. Okay. Let's see if I can give you in a nutshell. Honestly, this is something that's been on my brain. I would say the two things that you want to make sure you get right are bid management and keyword selection. If you can get those two things right, you can get a lot of other things wrong, and your ads will still run well. In my third priority in that would probably be data analysis and understanding how each thing acts upon another. And you'll actually figure out a lot of that by going through bid management. I would say, depending on the scope of work and depending on like the scope of the account, I would actually recommend doing somewhat manual bid adjustments in the beginning for you to fully understand, again, how bids work, and kind of how the algorithm works and how bid adjustments impact, say, sales and other numbers. That's going to let you learn very, very quickly how everything reacts to each other. So I'd say focus on those two things. As far as other basics to know, I honestly don't have any, I think, basic trainings out there, although I definitely probably should work on those, getting those up on our YouTube channel. But I would say in the beginning, again, depending on the scope of work, maybe just take over a couple of the accounts and have the team work together on it. Doing manual work will help you. Like I said, your learning curve is going to be so much faster. If you can help it, I wouldn't outsource to tools before you fully understand the ecosystem, because if you do that, some tools can make things go really right, and some tools can make things go really wrong. And when if it goes right or wrong really depends on how it's adjusting and how the account should be adjusted. But if you don't understand, again, how bids impact or how keyword selection impacts the performance, it will be hard to figure out what's going wrong. I don't know if that made sense or it was helpful.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for your guidance. But you can suggest me any tool that you understand. Basically, we have already running accounts that want to grow sales because we have outsourced all the work. So team is under the training, but we can testing tool on this account because client are willing to do that.
Mm. Yeah, so some good tools. IntentWise is good. What's another one? I know. Let me see if I can find another one. I also like Scale Insights, I believe, is the one that has, but both of those require you to set up a very like incremental bid adjustment strategies. And so again, you're kind of going to want to know what you intend to do for bid adjustments to be able to set those up correctly.
Okay, perfect. It's really helpful. Thanks for your great time.
Yeah, of course, of course. All right, I'm going to bring up the next person. So if you have a question, feel free to raise a hand and I will bring you up. You can unmute and ask your Amazon ad question.
Hello,
Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. How can I help?
Yeah, so the thing was that I was asked, I'm trying to get the idea that do you think pausing the campaign have negative effects? So the thing is that we paused the campaign for around 2 to 3 weeks because we didn't want to go out of stock
Mm,
and we had limited inventory. So yeah, our inventory will be good in a week or so. So every now and then, every couple of days, we have to activate the campaigns because of if we are getting low orders, we activate the campaigns and get a few orders to keep things moving on.
mm.
So but I have seen that the ACOS on a particular campaign have increased, and the conversion rate has taken an effect. So what do you think about that?
Yeah. So my favorite thing to do if we have stock, and we have to significantly slow things down. I didn't come up with this. I learned it from someone else. I can't honestly remember where I learned it. But it's to set $1 bids on the campaigns. This allows them to remain active, but then also essentially pauses them. Now, if you have 100 campaigns, of course, potential spend is $100. But assuming if you've already been running at higher budgets, you probably can you wouldn't expect as high of an ad spend. So that would be my preference in lieu of just completely shutting them off. One pro tip here is that if you are going to do some sort of like $1 budgets, I highly recommend, if you're familiar with bulk files, you can do this, or you can just download the campaign manager data, have some sort of a record as to what your budgets were previously, which makes it much easier to reset when everything comes back in stock. And then as far as the fluctuations in performance, couple options here. One, yes, if you pause things, if you aren't pausing them for a significant amount of time, I wouldn't expect that much of an impact on performance. It is entirely possible that that's a factor. The other factor may be if you have limited stock. There are certain like when you're in full stock, your product is often spread across all of Amazon's different warehouses. Sometimes what we find is once the stock levels start to drain, we don't have as good of an inventory position kind of like across the entire marketplace. So what oftentimes ends up happening is that someone in like a different portion of the country would go into the listing and their ship times would show longer because it's not coming from a close warehouse at that point, and that will affect conversion rates. So we've seen when inventory positions get low, it's not uncommon to see that impact conversion rates.
Yeah, great. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. It was a really good question. I appreciate it. Oh yeah, by the way, on inventory fluctuations, I think I have an entire YouTube video on what to do when something's running out of stock. So
yeah, sure. I'll make sure to look at it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. All right. Got another hand raise. I shall bring you up. And for those of you listening, feel free to use a hand raise to ask your Amazon ad question. And I'm going to bring everyone up in the order that you raise your hand. So, hello.
All right.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
Yeah, my name is Vigan. Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Awesome. So my question is going to be a little parallel to Amazon ads, I guess, because I'm not an Amazon advertiser. I'm a video producer, and our studio is trying to niche down on product videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, like, what is the impact of video in Amazon ads, and like, what would be an interesting strategy to actually offer these kind of things? Would it be more towards people who work in the ads industry, or the sellers directly, or the manufacturers, I guess, in that terms?
Yeah, I would say.
Also, if it's a little off topic, my apologies, right?
No, you're good. You're good. I'm sure everyone here wants to know about video ad creatives. So I'll give you some insights. I would say most likely marketing directly to the sellers would be good. I also will say that I'm sure you do like insanely good quality video production. And then depending on how many sales the product is making, oftentimes it's not always makes sense from an ROI standpoint to get like a video made for your entire product line. So, I mean, depending on how you want to do it, like what we've seen is like even simple slideshows or like very simple videos have performed well. So again, I don't know what your business looks like. I don't know what your most videographers like have really good production value and pride themselves on good production value, and as you should. But just know from an economic standpoint, not all brands, depending on who they are, might not all be gung-ho. So maybe offering some sort of, like more like simplistic or very quick videos, because most of them would love to run video ads. They lack the creatives and they also lack the capital. So just know you're running up against that. And then as far as from a creative standpoint, what we've seen is that, and you probably know as a videographer getting into ads, is that the first clip of the product is like the most important. So anything that's eye-catching. And we tried a little while ago to kind of correlate everything that we saw with like all of our clients running ads. And the main takeaway I saw is that the first frame, we tended to get better conversion rates when the first frame was specifically showcasing the product. Because the way it works in Amazon ads is everything is very much search-based. So people are searching for, X specific product. And so if we can showcase that like, hey, this is an ad for X specific product, and then zoom out and maybe show it in use or some other, forms of showing the product, those tended to get the best click-through and conversion rates for us.
Awesome. That is really like great insight. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. It was a great question.
All right, that's it. Yeah, have a good one, I guess.
Thanks. Thank
you.
Awesome. Looks like we got a couple other hand raises. I will bring up the next person and feel free to unmute and ask your question.
Hey, hi Elizabeth. This is Sandeep
Hello.
here.
Hello, how are
Hi,
you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for this opportunity. My question is regarding product targeting campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got two possibilities. One is sponsored products, and other is sponsored display.
Mm-hmm.
So which one we should choose, and what could be the reason like one works better than other?
I would say all the above. I would prefer to run both. If I had to choose, I might choose sponsored product ads. The only reason is that those ones tend to have higher volume than the sponsored display ads, is what we've seen. Although, to be honest, I would run both of them. And then the other thing that you might want to be aware of with the sponsored product targeting is that they recently updated it to be able to do exact targeting or expanded targeting. What we found is that exact targeting has worked really well for us. If we have a particular product that we absolutely want to make sure we're dominating their search page for, we will always go with exact. If we're finding, say, other ASINs in the search term report that are performing well and we want to like double down on those, I would pick exact. And then for expanded, I would say we would use that as more of a, we kind of want to have a broader reach, but not so much that we want to get super targeted with it. That's kind of how we approach it.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Great question. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Rolling. We're almost halfway through. So I appreciate all these questions. These are awesome. And as always, if you have an additional question, feel free to raise a hand. I will bring you up and you can unmute and ask a question.
Hi, good time of the day wherever you are. My question is about the sponsored product exact campaign.
Mm-hmm.
That's already existing exact campaign with about 400 keywords.
Mm-hmm.
But as I did additional keyword research, I'd like to add some more long tails. So my question is it worth to make a new campaign with these long tails, or it's better to do ad group inside the existing campaign? I want to separate these long tails to be capable to observe the dynamics of these keywords.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I want to know how to separate them.
Yeah.
So in terms of future optimization, like full keyword optimization, what will be better, to add into existing campaign or to create new campaign? What do you say?
Yeah, good question. I would prefer to add a new campaign. And I can let you know kind of my philosophy on this is twofold. One, I segment my campaigns in because for each campaign you're going to have a certain level of control over that, because there's bidding strategy, placement percentages, and the biggest one is the budget is set at the campaign level, so that has to filter down to say everything. But the other thing that I like using or segmenting campaigns around is different keyword groupings, because when I'm going through an account, and this is something I'm trying to remember, I learned it a while ago, and it made my life so much easier, realizing that if you're in an account and you're scrolling through, if you're only using, say, single ad groups, then everything that is like inside that campaign, you can see all the performance just inside the ad console versus having to click down into the ad group and then further evaluate performance. So actually, from a efficiency standpoint, it makes a lot of sense as well. And then again, I like grouping things by like my keyword segments and my strategies. So for instance, you're saying these are long tail keywords and you want to keep an eye on them. To me, that makes sense. Like, let's go put them in their own segmented campaign. Or say if additionally I have a bunch of product targets, but I have like a main or like 3 main competitors that I really want to go after more aggressively, I might put those in their own campaign because I want kind of high visibility into how these are performing, and to be able to kind of segment things.
And like following question,
Mm-hmm.
How how do you calculate the amount of budget you need for number of keywords to let them work all together? Because at some point, this campaign with 400 keywords, like only 127 works. All
Mhm.
the rest are like dead.
Yeah.
But the good keywords, they are relevant to the product, but they don't work.
Mhm.
So I wonder if I should separate them again
Mhm.
and try to restart, or should I increase the budget?
Yeah. I mean, the easiest thing to do is to test increasing the budget. I mean, like, how much budget do you need to run throughout for all the
Yeah.
keywords to potentially? I would say it's enough budget that your campaign is running all day, and you can actually see that from the budget tab. That's like what percentage of the day this campaign is in budget, and then you pretty much just have to maximize that. That would be, I mean, so that won't give you a black and white answer, but if you're trying to figure it out, that's what I would look at. And then the other question you had about segmenting, if you're still not seeing any traction on those additional keywords, like you said, only 100 and something of them, what I would do is I would go in, I would look at all of the keywords that are not getting, any impressions. I would pause those in the original campaign, then keep the original campaign with everything that is working, and then simply create a new campaign around the things that aren't getting impressions.
Oh, I see.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Of
Thank
course.
you very much for your help.
Of course. Hopefully it was helpful. I appreciate the question.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Hello, hello. Hi, Maria. Feel free to unmute and ask your question. Oh, I guess it went down. Okay. I shall bring up the next person. All right. Feel free to unmute and ask a question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Elizabeth, for your time.
Mm-hmm.
I have two questions. First one is regarding campaigns because I am managing the accounts. We have a full PPC team, in-house team that is managing, having sales more than $500,000 per month from US and few chunk of sales from other marketplaces.
Mm-hmm.
But my question is regarding sponsored display ads. We have tried multiple strategies on sponsored display ad, but we are not getting the exact placements. When we tried the optimization for reach one, then we start getting placements, but the result of the campaign is in the too much higher cost. So we just pause those campaigns and move back to the optimization for page visits and few campaigns on optimization for conversions. But the issue is that now we are not getting placements and our ad spend reduces and everything is just what disturbed from the sponsored display ads, and we are too much worried about that.
Mm. To be honest, it's probably a function more of how competitive the market it is than you not setting it up correctly. Because it sounds like you said when you put high bids or you increase things, you did get placements, but now that you're trying lower bids, you're not getting placements. So my guess is it's just that the market is very competitive. So my recommendation would be to run more limited, more targeted sponsor display campaigns based on things that should work for the product. So a great way to do this is to go into your search term reports for the sponsored product ads, identify which ASINs you're getting good performance on, and then roll those into sponsored display campaigns. And then I would also put on the bidding strategy, optimize for page visits is the one that I would test first. And then what you're going to want to do, I would only do a handful of these if you're saying like you don't have enough spend for them and you really need to have like a good ROAS for these campaigns. I would just start incrementally increasing, see at what point you have bids high enough to get those impressions or get those placements, and then just kind of see what the numbers shake out to be and go from there.
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, the point is that it is not about the bids because I have set the highest bids. I think my competitors are cheap competitors and they don't be a that bid that I set up for my campaigns, but still I didn't get the placements on both of the campaigns, just like for page visits and for page conversions. But when I move to the optimization for reach, I get the sports. I covered all of the sports from
Hmm.
top to bottom. But you know the stats of the reach campaigns are not accurate, and Amazon also says that these stats are not accurate that are showing on the campaign manager. But anyhow, I'm figuring it out, but didn't get any uh, result. I am expecting from you to please make a video on these set of campaign types, how to get placements. I have tried many options. I have tried
Hmm.
converting SENs, converting everything, but when I put same SENs that are converting on pretty ads, when I move to the sponsored display ads, we are not getting any placements and just losing our budgets.
Okay, so these are sponsor display video ads then.
Both of the image and video ads, on both we are not getting the good placements despite of high bids.
Okay. Do you mind me asking, when you say high bids, what are the bids?
Just like $4 or $5, and in my market average bid is three around $2 to $3, but I'm setting bids to at the maximum end, just like
Mm.
$5.
Yeah. Hmm. Um, I would test, and when you did the optimize for views, like the CVPM, what bids were you putting then?
I always go with the high bids because I like to go aggressive because I get good results. At that time, I set up bids more than $15 per
Mm.
VCPM.
So you went $15 and now you're doing 5. I would test that. So I would go and like I said, I would pick one or two targets. You don't want to go aggressive across the board. But if you're saying you did $15 before, that might be the difference. So I would do $5. I would test it, wait a couple, wait 5 minutes, go check the page, see where you show up. If $5 doesn't work, try six. $6 doesn't work, try seven. Just see at what point do you start getting placements.
Yeah, that's a good answer. And one thing more, actually, or my whole team all the time just do optimizations through bulk shades and everything else. Before we are using Salix for optimization for bid optimizations, but by the last year, Salix is a sunset. Then we didn't move to Perpetua, but we moved to ad badges. But after moving to ad badges, it is a complete disaster, and
Mm.
we really need a whole month. The last month we just post the automation and do all things by ourselves and to control our echoes, to control our tacos. But now we have 1,000 of campaigns, even more than 2,000 campaigns only in the US markets, and we have 7 more markets. Now my team spend most of the time in the weekly optimization, monthly optimization, quarterly optimizations. We didn't getting time to do anything else. So can you suggest, as I'm just listening your postcard, you just suggest the tool. I didn't remember, but you can you please suggest any good tool for the PPC optimization?
Yeah. So if you're
A
looking,
scale, yeah,
yeah, so scale
scale inside.
insights, and intent wise, those two tools allow you to set your own rules. Or if you're using bulk files, you can also layer automations on top of that. Um, that can also be effective as well. If you already have something you're doing, you can literally go on Fiverr if you have somebody on your team who is good at creating, say, macros or any sort of automations inside of spreadsheets. You can actually kind of essentially build your own tool inside of that. That's kind of what we opted to do.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Elizabeth, for your answers.
Yeah, of course, of course. Hopefully it helps. Awesome. All right, looks like Maria is back again. I will bring you up. Feel free to ask your question. I think you'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good.
Hi Liz, I'm sorry about that. I accidentally clicked to the listening mode. I do have a question that is still confusing. This might have been answered previously and
Mhm.
have been known by other people already, but I still have am seeing a lot of what do you call this? Ad sales are higher than the total revenue, so this is still
Hmm.
confusing to me. I might need some insights on this one.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. So, follow-up question on that. Are they variations?
No, they are not
Not
variations. These are
variations.
single products.
Well, in that case, okay. So, is this sponsored brands ads? Are
These are
you sorry, go ahead.
so yeah, sorry. These are sponsored products ads.
Dang it. That rules out my two other answers to your question. Um, because I have a really good answer if it was variations. That one's easy. Sponsored brands and sponsored display have like I think sponsored display. I know for sure sponsored brands. I'd have to go check the literature on the sponsored display. Those ones will have like halo sales. To my knowledge, sponsored product doesn't, but
Oh, sorry.
huh.
This might have there might have been a contribution from sponsored brands because there are two sponsored brand videos running
Hmm.
and seven sponsored product ads, but um, two sponsored display ads. But the contribution from the sponsored brand videos and sponsored display ads are very little
Yeah.
compared to the sponsored product ads. So I was really wondering because the total ad sales are really like $2,000 higher than the total revenue.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, that's
ad sales
significant.
percentage. Yes. So I was really wondering why this is happening. This is the second instance that I have seen this happen. This is for the month of April. And the first instance I saw this was like January.
Huh. You might have me stumped. So I'll I'll go over why you would see the differences in the like the sponsored brand ads and if it was a variation listing, and that can kind of tell you like the differences. I don't know if that will
Mhm.
give you any answers at all, but I can help. I can try to explain. So the reason you might have differences in like sponsored product sales versus the regular sales has to do with the ad attribution models.
Mhm.
Honestly, it might have to do with the date ranges and maybe depending on the volume of the products. That one I just have to look into. So the way it works in ads is whatever product got the click is going to have the sale attributed to it. And the
Mhm.
reason why this works and why it makes sense from an ad perspective is there is the possibility of like say a certain variation in a certain product kind of acting as like a funnel. So it's getting all the clicks, and technically from an ads perspective it's really really working. So Amazon wanted to give us insights into that, and so inside of the ad console, so that way that's why you can end up with like some weird numbers on if you're calculating say tacos or total ad sale percentage or something on a variation listing.
Mhm.
Is that whatever product got the click is going to be the one that got the sale. But then of course if you're going into business reports, Amazon's not going to record a sale on something that you didn't actually sell. So it's going to be attributed to whatever product was actually sold. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Sorry, I have a family emergency. I'll come back 1 minute. Where's Papa? Where's Daddy? I apologize, folks, but my daughter just got a head injury, and I'm going to have to cut
Mhm.
this short. Um, if I can, I will get back, but apologies, and definitely I gotta run.
I hope she's okay though.
Thank you.